So we're going to read mindfully and carefully because this is a critical reading exam. Identify what's the question asking, what's the goal in the scenario for the teacher, for the students, whomever. What keywords and phrases do we identify as important and that we need to address? And then we need to make sure that we look at each answer choice and we give it due process. We're going to weigh them all equally. You can't just say, oh, A looks good, and then that's it, and go with it, because they've actually gotten test writers that can write things that just look good. Like, man, I thought that looked good because of this phrasing, and they expect that. So weigh them all and weigh them against what we've analyzed, what you've analyzed for yourself, what you've assessed in the scenario, and what you've decided as important. So we were, I know that there's a lot here, and many of you, have not been here before, but we are going to go to some of the newer questions. And then I believe the rest of these, we went over them, and those are uploaded on the internet. You guys can watch them, us going over these particular scenarios. I also, if you haven't already taken a look at some of the other videos where I go into very deep depth over standard 1 and standard 2 individually, and standard 3 and standard 4, so that you have as a background knowledge, because it's good for you to practice, and it's good for us and for me to practice during the sessions, going over and analyzing different questions, but you still have to do your due diligence and sort of go a little bit more deeply. And we do that together in many of the videos. So many of the concepts that are covered here are covered in more depth as we look at the different standards. Let me see. Okay.
Miss Stephanie, my exam is scheduled for the 10th. So would it be possible for us to have like a one-on-one before that date?
Sure.
Hannah.
Yeah, let me see. The 10th. I need to take a look at my schedule, but yeah, absolutely. Who am I speaking with?
This is Hannah.
For sure, Hannah. I will get with you about that.
Okay, thank you. Please just let me know.
Yes, I certainly will. All right, guys, we're going to get into the analysis. So today's going to be a little bit different. Like, I know we have our strategies, and we're going to do that, but also before we come and take a look at the answer choices, I want us to try to think of what domain or what standard this is referring to. I want for us to connect back to what is in our profession, the actual pedagogical standards that we sort of adhere by, that this is even assessing. I don't know, whenever I do too much test questioning, I feel too far removed from the actual content. So I'm feeling that way after having done a couple of weeks of this. And I want to sort of, tie it back to the standards. And, of course, the domains are part of the exam, but like the standards really. So let's take a look at this one. A 6th grade teacher has been assigned to a class that includes students from a range of socioeconomic levels and cultural backgrounds. The students have had varied school experiences with little academic success. Which of the following approaches at the beginning of the school year is most likely to help promote an active and smoothly functioning classroom? Okay, so we read sort of mindfully, but what's important for us? Remember, keywords and phrases, if we go back to some of my PowerPoints and you take a look at them, I go in depth. Grade levels, like this kind of has all of it, if to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? So this has a grade level. This is a 6th grade teacher, which is middle school. And that's a particular cognitive, emotional, physical age group, right? That's in development, a time in development with different very particular characteristics. So this is a sixth grade teacher, and she has been assigned to teach a class, and the class has a range, meaning there's a lot of socioeconomic levels and different cultural backgrounds. So a range, diversity is basically what I'm seeing here, right? So what else? Right now, I am doing like modeling of how I would break down. I want to do guided practice. Tell me what else is important here. What is important for us to pay attention to? What is the question asking of us in layman's terms? What's the goal here?
Well, the
An
students have
active
very,
and smooth functioning classroom. They want to promote that.
Okay, active and smoothly functioning classroom. That's kind of a tall order, but that is the order, right? So the promotion of both an active and a smoothly functioning classroom. Sixth graders, range of socioeconomic levels and cultural backgrounds. They've had varied school experiences. What does varied school experiences mean? Whenever possible, please sort of, I would not that it's translate, but kind of into layman's terms, what does this mean? Varied
They
school
were student.
experiences.
They were student in 2 or more schools.
Exactly. Different schools, maybe some homeschools, maybe some more, different school experiences with limited or little academic success. So they struggle, right? It's a high need class is what I'm seeing. So what we're looking for, and the goal here is what is what, and are there any other keywords and phrases that I have yet to identify that we need to pay attention to?
In the beginning of the school year.
In the beginning, exactly. It's in the beginning of the school year, and we want most likely help promote this active and smoothly functioning classroom. So sometimes they give you an answer choice, and maybe it'll be great for like to have them active, but it's not going to make it function. Or maybe it's great for making it function, but it's not going to be very active. And we want it to be promoting of both active and smoothly functioning classroom, right? For these students, this diverse population. So in summary, we're looking for an approach at the start of the year to help have an active, smooth functioning classroom for the diverse sixth graders. Let's see if any of these are best. And we're gonna again give each and every single one of them due diligence or due process. We're gonna read it as though it has a whole shot at maybe being correct, because sometimes they write answer choices so well that we want to choose them and make others like, oh, for sure that's wrong, when that one actually is the right answer. So A, select 1 or 2 students each day to take responsibility for monitoring the behavior of peers and helping maintain order in the classroom until all students have performed this role at least once. B, teach basic classroom procedures, routines, and expectations explicitly, including those that may seem self-evident regarding materials, storage, organization, and sharing. Wait, how to disagree with a peer, etc. C, send home a letter to parents outlining the broad learning goals the teacher has planned for the students for the year. D, have students do most work independently, gradually incorporating more group activities only as students show that they have adjusted to the classroom and its routines. So we're not going to choose our best answer yet. We're going to do process of elimination old school style. So what can we eliminate and say we can bet ourselves $5? That is not the answer. It is not it.
A.
C.
Okay, we have
D.
two, right? Two up for grabs. Let's see. I heard someone say A. Why is A? Let's articulate. We're gonna use sort of you're gonna articulate your metacognition. Why is A not the best answer? I agree. I would bet myself $5 that it's not, but let's hear why.
I wouldn't choose A because you select one or two students each day, but then you get that kid that never wants to speak or take any sort of initiative. And then you get those class pets that want to just stand up there and do it all. And they may be the one that everybody does not like.
Right. And so also I'm sorry, one moment. It also, while we're having one or two student responsible for monitoring these sixth graders, the other students are just sort of doing whatever, or I just seems like a lot of responsibility for monitoring the behavior of the peers and helping maintain order. So we're going to have sixth graders in charge of other sixth graders to maintain order in the classroom. And so like, that's too much. And that's why I would say, and be able to bet myself $5 that A is not the best answer. It's just like not, I mean, we definitely want to give sixth graders the chance to have some responsibility in the classroom for sure, but this is too much. And so that is not the correct answer.
I actually seen that in the classroom, and like it in a way it's great to give them responsibility, but then they have their select friends and they will kind of let their get away with their things, and it's just it's too much responsibility for them to put them in charge of maintaining their peers' behavior.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
middle school kids in general, we like to consider them pre-people. Like
Right.
they're not elementaries that can be babied, and they're not high school that you expect to take the initiative and run with it. So they are pre-people. They still want to be guided, and even though they'll tell you they don't. So
Yeah, absolutely. They need it. Like, even though, yeah, they like it and they just don't know it. Like, they push against it, but they need it. So I heard someone else say D, and D is also not the right answer. And I'd be willing to bet myself $5. Why is D not the right answer?
Because they're in middle school, so working independently, they may not, they learn better with peers or like group work.
Yeah, having them do most of their work independently, gradually incorporating more group activities only as students show that they have adjusted to the classroom and its routines. I mean, that happens through practice of the routines. Teaching, modeling, practicing of the routines. And we wouldn't, like, for instance, if I were a sixth grade English language arts and reading teacher, or a seventh grade or an eighth grade or any grade, I would not do group activities where we talk. If I had, I mean, it would be an opportunity always to practice whatever routines of grouping, of discourse. There wouldn't be, even on the first day that we are learning our procedures and our routines, we are still doing activities cooperatively, think, pair, shares, talking to each other, doing all that stuff. So we wouldn't have students be isolated until we get this like arbitrary, we meet this like line of enforcement of routines. And of course we want them to follow our procedures and routines, but we're not going to hold off on group work and sort of cooperative. Remember, our jobs, all of our jobs, is also to be simultaneously teaching language to every single one of our English language learners. And that can't happen if we're working independently and it's all silent work. It has to be something where we're think, pair, sharing, find somebody who, jigsaw, cooperative group, whole group discussion, half group discussion, talk, listen, read, write all the time about everything. So D is for sure not the right answer. We're not going to do this.
Well,
So-
and do you have to restart every time you get a new student?
Right. Absolutely. And you know, and that's certainly something that teachers struggle with. And what's even harder for some you know, educators is to like start the year after the beginning of the year. Like, let's say they had a teacher and that teacher decided to leave, like, I don't know, October, they were already into somebody else's routines or maybe lack thereof. And then you have to sort of come in and you have to do the correct answer to this question. You have to go in and set like the classroom climate. Like this is, and that's why I wanted to take a minute to sort of like, if we could think, what is this question mostly about? This is
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that actually happened to my daughter. She was having a lot of issues with the students in her class. So I moved her to a different teacher, and like the teacher actually assigned a girl to kind of show her the way of how they do things in that classroom.
Right. And that was a perfect way of doing it. She probably explained things, but she also gave her a buddy and a model, someone who could show her the ropes and teach her the routines and the procedures. And then the kids are so smart, they catch on like this, you know, they catch on to the routines. And if everybody's doing it, it becomes second nature, sort of muscle memory for the classroom. But C is also not the correct answer. Sending home a letter outlining to the parents broad learning goals. Broad means like really large in general learning goals that we have planned. That's not going to help the students be more active and the classroom be more active and smooth functioning. A letter to the parents will not do that. Teaching the students classroom procedures so that they can function. Look at the like and procedures help students function in the classroom. And they ask in the answer choice or in the question is like a functioning classroom. Classroom procedures, basic classroom procedures help students function. For instance, the procedure to like class, you know, and I'll tell the substitute to be at the door that's an expectation for the students to expect me to be there. And if I'm not going to be there, I expect someone else to be there to like welcome them into the classroom, answer any questions. And I most, you know, if I was ever missing, it was because of a child being sick, or I had like, or I was pregnant and I had to go to like a doctor's appointment and I couldn't get it around it being after school. But most of the time they were after school. And so they always knew and they were always very nosy. And so I gave them a little, like, she had the news. Why is Miss Sauceda out? What are we doing today? What is going on? Because I tried, you know, never to be out. So basic classroom procedures that are consistent and that you're mindful of all your students. You know, if I had special ed students that I knew were going to be bothered by my absence, and two autistic students come to mind that really had difficulties connecting with people. They one of in particular was moved a couple of times with several different English teachers before they could find one that they could jive with. And the special ed teacher would come in to the English language arts and also the reading and also I believe the science class, if I'm not mistaken. But in any event, if the substitute for their teachers was going to be a substitute, then it was going to be too much of a hit and miss. And most of the time it was miss. Like what we had learned over the years was that it was miss with substitutes. And so it was just better to go to the special ed department and just do the assignment there in class. And that was best and on like the IEP. But there are certain things and that we have in place and routines, expectations. And if we explain to the students explicitly, and especially if they're this question says, even if they seem self-evident, and I think that's important because they range from varied school experiences, they had limited academic success, And sometimes if a teacher doesn't have a whole bunch of procedures and routines, there might be chaos. These are sixth graders. We know that stability during transition, having routines and procedures for EC through 6 is really important. And so from varied school experiences, limited academic success, range of socioeconomic levels going from high to low, varied backgrounds. So having routines and being very explicit or verbal and explaining and showing and modeling what you mean and what you need in order for things to function, for the activities that we're going to do to take place, for our group activities, for our whatever it is that goes down in the classroom. These are the things that we need to do, and where our materials are going to be, and how we handle getting them, and how we put them back afterwards, so that the class after us finds them when they need them at the beginning of their class. Because remember, sixth grade goes first period, second period, third period. It's a little bit different because it's still in middle school, but they're still considered EC through 6. They're still considered the early child and just burgeoning abstract thinkers. So B is the correct response, giving them explicit instructions, routines, models regarding material storage, organization, sharing, even how to disagree with a peer, so that you can have group activities. And this will more than likely promote active and smooth functioning in the classroom, but it also has to be consistent. It can't just be a one-time thing. These have to be things that are reinforced, that are modeled, and that are explained. If a student were to say, well, how does one disagree with a peer? Then you should go and find, and it will be very easy to find, a skit where peers in a group disagree with each other, or you could create one if you had the time and the creativity to do so. And have the students do it and show each other so that they can see how best to disagree respectfully. So here we have a science teacher plans for her students to display their science findings, text, visuals, audio, charts, and data with the class for a final project. Which of the following types of software is the best choice to accomplish these tasks? So, what should we highlight? What is important for us to pay attention to?
The science teacher, the text, visuals, audios, charts, and data. That's everything that needs to be presented in the final project.
Everything in the final project, right? And so, yeah, for the purposes of the PPR, yes. But it's a science teacher. It's not necessarily important that they're teaching science. This could be a social studies teacher or English language arts and reading teacher, and their reading project, and it has to have different, I don't know, data, audio. But the pedagogy here is involving all different types of
Software.
call that, yeah. We're looking for a type of software to show the text, the visual, the audio, charts, data in the final project. So which would be the best choice? Maybe they've given us more than one good choice, but what would be the best choice for us to do that? And that's excellent. Those are the keywords and phrases. Best software to accomplish all of these tasks. So we have internet browser, word processor, electronic spreadsheet, and multimedia application. What can we bet ourselves $5 is not the right answer, and why?
B.
B, yeah, a word processor is not the best way to go, for sure. Neither is the internet browser. Like they're doing a final project and they're just gonna open up Google. That is not gonna work for me. I'm gonna have a conniption because nothing is prepared. I'm sure they had to access it, right? An internet browser in the beginnings of their science project or research project or whatever it was that they were doing, possibly, but no. That is not going to be the end all be all, and it's not going to be the best way to accomplish their task. What else?
Not C.
I'm sorry?
Not C.
Not C, not the electronic spreadsheet either. It's just not. I mean, they might have had to use it to create data or like, charts of some sort, but it wouldn't be the best software to accomplish this task for a final project for their science findings. The multimedia application obviously is going to be the best because this is in fact all of the multiple medias, right? Text, visual, audio, charts, data. It had audio. Yeah, all of this. This is multimedia in itself. So that would be the best way for us, for the students to display their data, display the multimedia in that a multimedia application. Okay, so now we have a middle school teacher often uses checklists for students' essays and projects. Which of the following is the primary purpose for using checklists as assessment tools? What are our keywords and phrases?
Middle school.
Middle school.
Checklist.
Checklists.
Essays and projects.
Essays and projects, right? And so what is the question asking of us? What's the goal here? What's the question?
The primary purpose of using.
Right, primary
Yes.
purpose. In layman terms means the main reason, right?
Right.
And for using checklists as assessment tools, remember guys, assessments are ways of measuring students, right? Assessments are a measurement or a collection of data. So what's the main reason of using checklists to measure students or to gauge students' learning? For assessments, project.
To see the progress of the students.
Right, the progress. So let's take a look. What would be the primary reason, the main reason? To make comparisons among students, to establish an authentic purpose for student learning, to monitor students' progress over time, to establish independent learning opportunities. So what can we eliminate and bet ourselves $5?
A.
A.
It's not about making comparisons among students. That is not what the checklist is about. A teacher who uses checklists for students' essays and projects would not be doing it to make comparisons amongst the students. That's not the primary reasons we use checklists. What else is not a reason why we use them?
B.
B, it's not an authentic purpose for student learning, the checklist. What else? We're left with C and D. Which of these are the best, the primary reason we would use?
C.
C.
Absolutely C. So we can bet ourselves $5. D is not the right answer. It's not an independent learning opportunity. It helps monitor students' progress over time utilizing those checklists. Well done, guys. Ms. Martinez begins each grading period by having students set 3 academic achievement goals for the upcoming grading period. At the end of each grading period, she has students revisit their goal sheets to establish whether their goals were accomplished. She has them write about what it took to achieve each goal, or if the goal was not reached, what needs to happen to reach the goal. Which of the following does the activity best promote? What's happening here? What's the goal in the scenario? What keywords and phrases? What do we need to pay attention to?
Well, she said 3 academic achievement goals for the grading period.
Right. So 3 academic. What else? Begin, right? At the beginning of the grading period. So if they say at the beginning, hold on one second. I'm gonna go ask my daughters for the phone really quickly. At the beginning of the lesson, at the beginning of the grading period, at the beginning or at the end of, then it's important. Chicky, I need the phone really quickly. Thank you. It's important for us to pay attention to. So at the beginning of the grading period, and yes, you're absolutely right to identify that she says, or that there's 3 academic achievement goals. What does that mean in layman's terms, academic achievement goals? What does that mean in layman's terms?
They met the lesson, they understood the lectures.
Progress,
Or
student progress.
progress.
Yeah, so maybe if I am a English language arts and reading teacher, that means that I'm gonna do I might say that I'm gonna improve my vocabulary, or I'm going to improve my writing by being more descriptive. It's just like particular academic achievement goals. So depending on whatever subject she teaches, the goals would be different, but still having them reflect on goals for the upcoming period. And then at the end of the period, having them revisit. I think that's an important word. What else?
She wants them to identify which goals they achieved and goals that were not achieved.
Write them down.
Right. And what else?
What needs to happen to reach goal?
Right. The action that needs to take place in order, reflecting on what needs to happen, having them think about their thinking, think about their goals, think about their work. So
Self-assessment.
what can we eliminate? Let's read these answer choices. What can we eliminate? Somebody read them out loud for us, please.
Establishing a cooperative learning environment, developing self-assessment skills to foster learning, increasing teacher-student interactions, or communicating teachers' expectations.
All right. What can you bet yourself $5 is not the correct answer, and why?
A.
A.
Sure. What else?
D.
And C.
D as
and
well.
C.
It definitely is having the students self-assess, developing their self-assessment skills. First of all, setting goals for one, but then thinking, did I accomplish them? And then what can I do differently? Fostering active learning, right? They themselves. And once they get into this habit, it's like metacognition skill. So these self-assessment skills become muscle memory, and they start doing it all the time. And that's how you become an active learner, by self-assessing, by asking yourself, and by setting goals for yourself. Excellent, guys. All right. Can I have somebody read this one? Sorry, guys, I've been talking all day long, so I'm like a little bit sore of throat.
A 10th grade English teacher posts homework assignments and lecture notes on a class blog that students have access to outside of school. Which of the following is the primary benefit of the class blog? A,
All right.
showing students that, oh, not yet?
No, let's break it down.
10th grade.
English,
Right, English teacher. What else?
The class
Assignments and
blog.
lecture notes in the class blog.
Class blog.
And it's a homework assessment.
Access outside of school.
Access outside of school, I think, is important. And it's asking us primary benefit, the main reason, what we get out of it, of the class blog, of utilizing this. Okay, so let's I'm sorry for interrupting. Continue with the answer choices.
A, showing students that technology is a priority for teachers. B, improving students' ability to evaluate online resources. C, modeling the effective use of communication technology. D, demonstrating how to use technology for organizing classwork.
All right, what are we thinking that we can for sure get rid of?
A.
A.
Yeah, showing students that technology is a priority for teachers. I can bet myself $5 that's not the reason.
D.
D.
I think B too. B as in boy.
Improving students' ability to evaluate online resources. Is they're not evaluating anything. We're left with D and C. What do we think, guys?
D.
That we can get rid of D?
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. We're modeling effective use of communication technology, like not just for nothing. There's actual reason and use that benefit to utilizing. So good work on that one.
so let me ask you, on some of the questions, whether it was outside of school or inside of school, it doesn't matter. That just kind of, do they just do that, like you're saying, just to kind of make it a little bit more complicated, or to try to throw us off?
Kind of, yeah. You mean
Because
outside of school?
because whether that would have been in school or during class or outside of school, it would have still been C, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. A second grade classroom includes Javier, a student with severe visual impairment. When doing instructional planning for the class, it is most important for the teacher to ensure that, okay, remember last week, before we started question analysis, we went over different types of disabilities, right? The types of disabilities that we see in our classroom, and then the types of like supports that we would offer and things that we might see on their IEP. So we did talk about visual impairment. This question is about a second grader.
With severe visual impairment.
Right.
And it's for instructional
Most
planning for class.
So it's asking what? What is it asking of us?
to make sure
how the
whatever
teacher
the
should
teacher is
modify.
planning that he include, yeah, how to use his accommodations correctly. So that way he's also able to learn with his peers.
Yeah, okay, so let's read someone read the answer choices. Let's see what we think is best. Most important for us to ensure.
Alternative activities are available to Javier for class periods during which he may prefer to work independently. B, activities are organized in ways that allow Javier to participate with peers as fully as possible. C, activities implemented in the class use a limited number of relatively simple formats. Or D, activities de-emphasize the visual mode and mainly focus on non-visual models, auditory, tactile, or kinesthetic.
Okay, what are we thinking, guys? What do we think we can get rid of?
A, definitely.
For sure. Why is A so incredibly wrong? Someone tell me why.
Because
You're
it's making him work by
isolating the student.
himself.
Making him work by himself.
Exactly.
Needs to be included.
Yeah, you're isolating him.
Well, it's allowing him to work independently, which he's going to prefer to do.
Right. And we're supposed to be, remember, it is the law that our special ed students are in the least restricted environment. We are in non-compliance, therefore breaking the law if we are not, allowing them to be in the least restrictive environment. So next, what else can we get rid of? So we're not going to do that. We're not going to let them work independently. That's not going to work.
C.
Which one?
E.
Did you say B or D?
I think
No,
she
I said C.
C, yes. I don't even know what C is talking about, but we're not going to just implement only, like, it's second grade. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff. No.
I think we could also get rid of D as in dog.
Absolutely. Why can we bet ourselves that D isn't the best answer?
Because they're second graders. There's other students in the classroom who still need visual learning.
Absolutely. And there might be English language learners in there. And so that we're going to for sure find ways to support Javier. But the best way is to make sure that activities are organized in ways that allow him to participate with them. Like, whether that be structurally with the classroom or the different lessons that are done, maybe doing chorale, speaking, or whatever it can be to include him as much as possible. All right. Mr. Clark, a social studies teacher, assigns that his exam review must be completed as a slideshow presentation. The assignment demonstrates that the teacher recognizes the importance of which of the following. Okay. What's happening here?
They must complete the slideshow presentation as a final exam.
Exam review.
An exam review.
Oh, okay, the exam review, okay.
Social studies class.
Social studies teacher.
Best demonstrates.
So they might demonstrate
Have more than one answer.
Right. Recognizes the importance of which of the following. Okay. Ensuring equity in technology education. Incorporating essential technological terms. Integrating technology objectives into the curriculum. following procedures for evaluating technological information. Okay, guys, what can we get rid of and bet ourselves pretty confidently that's not the right answer?
B is a boy.
B, that's not what it's doing. What else?
Hey,
A.
Not doing that either. Bet myself $5. What else?
D is a dog.
Yeah, it's doing C. Excellent. Okay. More Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark's students, Mr. Clark expects students to use visuals, text, quotes, and audio in the slideshow presentation. What is the primary benefit to Mr. Clark's exam review slideshow presentation? All right. He wants to do what now?
Expects to use visual text,
visual
quote, and audio.
And what is the primary benefit of this?
Got it. Main reason. A, students are forced to complete the study guide because it is for a grade. B, students will remember the material more if they have pictures and audio regarding exam content. C, students may enjoy the assignment better. D, students will assess their own knowledge.
Eliminate C.
Eliminate A.
Eliminate A.
You want to eliminate A? Okay, yeah. Let's eliminate A. I mean, that's not. I mean, whether that be the case in some experiences, that is not the correct answer.
C.
A.
Yeah, it's not just because they're going to enjoy it better.
D.
D.
I think the answer is
B.
B, as in boy.
Yes, although I think it will help them assess their own knowledge. It might, if they're doing the answering it and they're thinking, man, I don't know who any of these people are, you know, if it's because I believe it's a social studies teacher, right? So if it has a whole bunch of US history names people on it and you don't know any of them, you might be able to assess, I need to do a bit more. But I think that the best and primary benefit will be that having the students utilize those multimedia will help them learn it and remember it. Okay, let's have somebody read this.
Mr. Clark has his students present their work in the days before the semester assessment. What is the premier benefit for Mr. Clark's scheduling of presentations and the semester assessment?
All right, guys, what is it asking us?
The students present their work.
Days before the semester.
Primary benefit of the scheduling.
So having them present their
Presentation.
guides to each other. I mean, their exam reviews to each other before the exam. So let's read. Students can be done with all work and exams at once. B, students can benefit from review and repetition of exam content. C, students can practice their oral language skills. D, students can help assess each other's knowledge. Okay, what can we get rid of?
A.
C.
A for sure. Which one?
C.
Yeah, C.
D.
I think the answer is B, as in boy.
That's correct. B is in boy. All right. Oh, I believe this is the last one. This is the last one, and I don't think it's, I'll type it out as we do it. So, Mr. Clark gives students the following questionnaire. Students, time to assess your performance on this activity. You should identify the things you did well and the areas in which you need improvement. Things I did well, areas where I need improvement. What I find most interesting about this activity, what I find least interesting. How would you change this activity to make it a better learning experience for you? Regularly using this questionnaire in the classroom is most likely to have a which of the following effects. So I haven't finished typing out the things, but I'm going to finish it right this second. So somebody read for me as I finish typing out the answer choices for us today.
A, communicating to students the teacher's emphasis on high student productivity in the classroom. B, helping students identify which subject they like most and which they like least. C, promoting a positive climate by letting students know they are listening.
Listen to and
Respected. D, enhancing students' sense
hold on of
the relevance of school in their
lives. We went down. Hold on, I'll move the whole thing down. Oh, it's all on the same page. So enhancing students' sense of relevance of school.
Can we go over the question one more time?
Yeah, so regularly using this questionnaire in the classroom is most likely to have which of the following effects? Communicating to students the teacher's emphasis on high student productivity in the classroom, helping students identify which subjects they like most and which they like least, promoting a positive climate by letting students know they are listened to and respected. D, enhancing students' sense of relevance of school in their lives.
So I think B is out.
I think D's out.
Yeah, D is out big time, and it's relevance to their lives. So D is definitely out. So he's not asking. Remember, he asked, what did you do well? What did you need work on? What did you find interesting? What did you find boring? What would you change? So that's not about enhancing the relevance of school in their life or their sense of it. Like, that's not what's happening there. What else can we bet ourselves is not happening? Is not the right answer.
not A.
Yeah, that's not what's happening here. High student productivity in the classroom, like, no, that's not what it's communicating. And then we have helping students identify which subjects they like most and which they like least, or promoting a positive climate by letting students know they are listened to and respected.
I'm sorry, my daughter was talking to me as you were going over the questions, so I was not following along.
Oh, no, not at all. What do you think, guys?
The correct answer is C.
I
For
believe
sure.
the correct answer is C.
For sure. Excellent job, guys. Excellent. Having the students feel like and it's not just about them feeling listened to and respected. You should listen to them. If they aren't understanding, if they aren't interested, if the student says, I'm not getting that whole last section that we did, I mean, me and a couple of other people, then you should be like, what? How can I help you? How can I make this happen? And this questionnaire is a good sort of, I mean, sometimes kids get out of hand with their comments, especially in junior high, you know, sometimes they're silly little ones. But most of the time they're being genuine in their thoughts. And if they really feel heard and listened to, it does something for their, you know, motivation and their feeling of worth in your classroom. So it only adds to a sense of that positive climate where people can thrive in, you know, like just really achieve and surpass academic goals. Okay, guys, we are going to end class for today. I think I got everybody written down for attendance purposes.
Miss Sauceda, I have a question.
Sure.
So I took my test last week and I made a 234. I missed it by 6 points.
Oh no.
Yeah, it sent me down a pretty dark rabbit hole. So do I
Yeah.
need to set up an individual session with you? I did the practice test that's on the website where you pay like the $10 for it.
Right.
And so I did that. Do I need to send you those results
Sure,
and
absolutely.
the
If you could, that'd be great.
today on this for us to maybe look at stuff? Or,
For sure. Yeah, and send those to me, please.
okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Ms.
Thank you,
Sauceda,
Ms.
I also have a question as well.
Sure.
So I ended up last on doing the PPR benchmark and I didn't complete the whole, I guess, the 10-point credits. So I know I have to do these sessions with you. Do you know how many we have to do? Or like, what's the next process of when do we get to sign up for the PPR exam?
Okay. Have you taken the practice test online?
No, I just did everything that was there on the course modules.
Okay.
And then just ended up with that PPR benchmark. And then I guess from there it said we had to do tutoring sessions with you, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, kind of just trying to figure out what my next course of action is.
Sure, absolutely. So I'll send that to you. Who is it that I'm speaking with?
This is Kelly, Miss Kramer.
So yes, I will send you the link. It's in the email that I send you with the PPR playlist with all the videos that are there. And then the second link is to the resources that we use. And then the third link is to the PPR practice test. So if you take that and do in all green, then we can open it up for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to go back to, I'm pretty sure it's probably in one of the emails. I just have to kind of go back and look, but if you could send it to me again.